Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulina wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Ma ba'd. So in this lesson, we're going to learn how to read a list of names. I'm going to cover three things. One is the lineage of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're going to talk about how to read the name of Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiyallahu anhu. And then we're going to finish off with a sanad from a famous hadith from Abi Dawood. Okay, so Nasabu Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. First thing we have here, and this is one reason I like to choose this lineage, it's written slightly differently from different writings. Some people will elaborate more on names. They'll say and he was this and this was his name. Others will add different things down here at the end, and this one adds this part right here in the beginning. These are all different types of Badal, or different ways of just writing out the connection at the end. So I chose this lineage because the middle of it is all pretty simple, and the beginning has this, which is helpful because then I can teach you about this, Insha'Allah. Okay, Bismillah. So huwa, here you have what you would call a jumla ismiya, right? He, then you put the word is. Muhammadun, he is Muhammadun sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And you have a badal right here. Badal is like a substitution. In this case, its function is to elaborate more, basically. Like, for example, over there, is Joe, or Zaid, the shepherd, right? It's like, this guy is Yaqub, the bread maker, right? You're elaborating further on who he is. Huwa Muhammadun, elaborating more, Rasulullah, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And here's just a dua thrown in there, right? And you'll see that a lot in all kinds of different writings as well. Just it's not even something like this, but especially at the beginning, you'll see intro to a text, and you'll see it's like this long dua, and then the actual text will begin. So keep that in mind. It's just like a sentence, basically, thrown in there. This would be a jumla fi'liya, as it begins with a verb. All right. And perhaps somebody watching this knows more Arabic than I do. Feel free to chime in and drop a comment if I make a mistake or if there is more to add. I am a learner myself, so no problem there. All right. So huwa Muhammadun Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and here's the rest of the lineage. Ibnu Abdillah. So Ibnu is another badal, that elaboration to Muhammadun sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then you have an Idaafa, and then another Idaafa as part of the name. So the name here is an Idaafa construction. Abdullahi, right? Abdurrahman, Abdurrahim. These names are an Idaafa. Idaafa, basically, to put it really simply, is like you put the word of between these two words. Or you can have a chain of Idaafas as well. You have, right here, you have three. So it's Ibnu of, Abdi of Allah, son of the servant of Allah, son of the servant of God. The helper alif here, this is one reason I liked this writing of the lineage. So if you pause and then you come back and then you start on, so you pause and then start on this word, this ibn, there's a helper alif you'll put in there. So there's a pause here, so it goes Ibnu Abdillahi. And then you notice there's no helper alif. That's because if you were to just read straight through this thing, you wouldn't pause. Whereas if you write it in English, you'll see Ali ibn, sometimes even Abu Talib, right? Because they're not doing the grammar of the word, essentially. They're not doing the i'rab of the word. They're just keeping it simple and writing the full word in its basic form. But now that we're reading Arabic, Insha'Allah ta'ala, Ibnu Abdillah ibni. And you just run right through it and you just keep going without stopping. And if you stop and you come back to Ibn, then you'll add in that helper alif even though it's not written. So let's just go ahead and read through this whole thing. And so this letter, remember, imagine there's no gap here really. It's just going to connect straight through these two words. Abdillah ibn Abdil Muttalibni, right? So let's go ahead and read it together. Ibn Abdillahi. And by the way, you can download this document, inshallah, in the comment section. And so you can have your own, you can print it out and practice with it if you need to or something like that. Or if you want to teach with it or whatever you want to do. Okay, bismillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. هو محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ابن عبد الله بن عبد المطلب بن هاشم بن عبد مناف بن قصي بن كلاب بن مرة بن كعب بن لؤي بن غالب بن فهر بن مالك بن النضر بن كنانة بن خزيمة بن ابن خزيمة بن okay, I'm making mistakes. ابن خزيمة بن مدركة بن إلياس بن مضر بن نزار بن معاد بن عدنان. Alright. And we'll pause here. So you notice that there's a lot of suddenly fathas. So these words are غير منصرف, they're partly declinable. Whereas the word Muhammadun is mu'rab, meaning fully declinable. It can take the tanween, it can take rafa, kasra, it can take, damma, kasra, fatha. These غير منصرف words cannot take the kasra. So it's always going to be a fatha, it's going to be a damma. So ibni kinana tabani, Khuzayma tabani. And that's one reason I personally have some trouble adding harakat to lineages or the sanad of a hadith or something, is because I know that there's going to be most likely some ghayr munsarif words, and I'm going to have to think hard about the rules of ghayr munsarif, what words are fully declinable and what words are partly declinable. Alhamdulillah. Alright, so now picking up the lineage here. So we know the full lineage to Adnan. And from Adnan, we know his lineage connects to Ismail, Prophet Ismail alayhi salam, the son of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. So it says wa Adnana, and so this wow is atif to Adnan. Wa Adnan, and I believe that would be why it takes a fatha here instead of starting over. Because if it were a wow instead of a wow atif, if it were a wow that we're starting a new sentence, then in that case it could take a dhamma, as then it'd be like this, just starting over again, right? So Adnana, so connected to Adnana right here, sort of like the Badal we were talking about, but a little bit different here. It's also kind of expanding upon it, really, but the wow atif is a connector. Min waladi, so you have a harf jar, so this guy takes kasra. Wa'adnana min waladi, from the children of Ismail. So here's another ghayr munsarif word. So it doesn't take kasra, even though it is in the status of Jarr. Why? Because this word here is a Mudaaf ilayh to this Mudaaf. Waladi Ismail. So you put the word of, children of Ismail. Ibni, because this guy is a Badal. This word is a Badal to this word. Ibni Ibrahim, and then you have another Mudaaf right here. Ibrahim is a ghayr munsarif word, so then it only takes fatha. Alright, sallallahu alayhima wa ala nabina wa sallam. Ameen. So may Allah send good prayers, or may Allah bless both of them and our Prophet, and peace. Allah send peace and good blessings and prayers upon both them and upon our Prophet. Alright, Aliyu, so Ali ibn Abi Talib, how do you actually say his name in Arabic with the i'rab? So Aliyu, and this word actually is mu'rab. The word Ali is mu'rab. It can take kasra. You'll often see it actually with a kasra tanween in a lot of hadith. So be aliyin, and in a lot of hadith you'll see. But there's no reason, again, we're starting. This technically is not a sentence, actually, so we'll make it a sentence by putting huwa. So he is Aliyu ibn Abi Talibin. Now, do you remember the rules I told you? There's a couple things going on here. There's Badal, and there's a triple Idaafa construction going on. I'm going to give you a moment. Can you identify everything going on here and why it is what it is? All right, I hope you figured out. So you have huwa aliyu, and there's a jumla ismiya. So you put the word is in here. He is aliyu. There's no reason for this not to take a damma, so it's going to take a damma. It's like the default state. You have the badal to the word ali, so ibnu. And then you have abi talibin. You have an idaafa between these two words, and you have an idaafa between these two words. You have a triple idaafa. So ibnu abi talibin. Talib is a mu'rab word, takes the full declinability. You can take that tanween kasra, so therefore it does. So if I were to read this out without stopping, I would say huwa aliyubnu abi talibin. Huwa aliyubnu abi talibin. If you want, you can practice that with me. Huwa aliyubnu abi talibin. All right. And the last part. So this is a famous hadith. I'm sure you have heard of it already. Here is the sanad, and the rest of the bold down here is the matn. So حدثنا محمد بن كثير. So this is actually, you have a verb now. This is a jumla fi'liya. It starts with a verb. You have the maf'ul bihi, the receiver of the verb, and you have the doer of the verb, the fa'il. Muhammadu. That's why this guy takes rafa, because he is the doer of the verb. Then you have a badal, ibnu. Badal here is connected to Muhammadu. So Muhammadu bin Kathir, and then you have a idaafa right here between ibn and Kathir. And like the famous mufassir, Ibn Kathir, if you were to say his name, you would say Ibn Kathirin, just like that as well. أخبرنا سفيان حدثني. So you have the same thing, verb and do the verb, فاعل. حدثني يحيى ابن سعيد. So Yahya is mabni. It takes no. It's always going to be the same, whether it's in Rafa, Nasab, or Jarr. It's always going to look the exact same. Because it ends in that ya, and an alif maqsura. It ends in this alif maqsura. And then you have a badal here. And so this badal is to the word Yahya. The word Yahya is in Rafa status, so the badal is going to imitate its status. Then Sa'idin, you have another Mudaaf ilayh. All right, now an, different now here. An Muhammadi ibn Ibrahim at-Taymi. So you probably already know, this is a harf Jarr for the word after it is going to become majrur. It's going to take a Kasra. The badal will imitate the word it's substituting. Therefore, it's going to take Kasra. It's going to be the status of majrur, Jarr status. And you have an Idaafa, Ibrahim, which is a ghayr mansarif word, takes just a Fatha. Then at-Taymi, this word is mu'rab, especially with that alif lam there. Alif lam will, to my knowledge, always make a word mu'rab fully declinable. So if you ever, anytime you see an alif lam, it's like, okay, I can just not even worry about anything, it's going to be fully declinable. At-Taymi, so it's got to take the Kasra. It is badal, to my knowledge this here, to the word Ibrahim. And the word Ibrahim is, even though it has a Fatha, it is technically majrur status, in Jarr status. Therefore, the badal is going to imitate its status, and it's going to take the Kasra. An ALQAMAH, ghayr mansarif word, only takes Fatha. Ibni, Badal to ALQAMAH. ALQAMAH is majrur, even though it has a Fatha. Therefore, this guy's going to take the Kasra. Waqasin. You have an Idaafa here to the word Waqas, which is mu'rab al-laythi. Then you have a Badal. Waqas al-laythi. Interesting here. What if I were to just read this straight through? I have a tanween Kasra. Just like the Quran, what you can do is you can say Waqasin al-laythi. قال سمعت عمر بن الخطاب. So سمعت, I heard. He said, I heard. Umar ibn al-Khattab. So here is the maf'ul bihi, the like receiver of the verb, or the object, right? Subject, object in English, to my knowledge here. This would be the object of the verb. Subject being the doer of the verb. So it's like the receiver of the verb. Amara, you have Badal, and the receiver of the verb, the maf'ul bihi is going to be in mansub status. It's going to take a fatha. Amara ibn al-Khattabi, and there you have an Idaafa at the end. Ibn al-Khattab is an Idaafa, therefore the second word al-Khattab is going to take a Kasra. And here you have a Badal to Umar, which is mansub, so it's also going to be mansub. Yaqulu saying, Qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the messenger of God said, peace and blessings be upon him, Innama, only, al-amalu bin niyat, the actions are only by intentions. Wa innama li kulli imri'in ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله. Everyone only gets what he intends, basically, and for everyone is only what he intends, you could say. فمن, so whoever, كانت هجرته, his hijrah was for, or was to Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله, so then his hijrah was to Allah and His Messenger. ومن كانت هجرته, and whoever's hijrah للدنيا was for the world, يصيبها, seeking to gain something from it, seeking to gain it. أو امرأة, or a woman, يتزوجها, to marry her. فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه, then his hijrah was to, then here you have and ism mawsul, which is like, I'm not going to explain that in this video, but you have ism mawsul, if you know what that is. If you know what that is, then inshallah another video we'll cover that maybe, inshallah. But ma hajara, here you have a verb, what he emigrated to, or like his hijrah is to what he emigrated to, or whatever he intended for, really. Alright, that's all. If you have any questions, if I made any mistakes, let me know. If there's more you'd like to add, feel free to comment. If you have any questions, feel free to comment as well. Alright, jazakumullahu khairan. ربنا زدنا علما ربنا زدنا علما ربنا زدنا علما اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا آمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع ومن دعوة لا يستجاب لها آمين يا رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.